and welcome to the iCage. And for those of you who are joining us from Kenya and abroad, welcome to this segment. My name is Edith Menesi. This is a program that brings you exclusive trendy topics that range from education, politics, health, arts and culture. But before we delve into these issues, let's have the day's headlines. The U.S. Defense Secretary Jean-Mattis Juma presents his resignation letter to State House. This comes after President Donald Trump sent a controversial message commanding all army withdraw from Syria. In Mattis's letter, he urges President Donald Trump to respect their allies. In his place, Patrick Shanahan, his deputy, is appointed Secretary of Defense by President Donald Trump. And during this festivity, Israel seems to be thriving as Bethlehem attracts more tourists to the area. This in return has seen Israel's monopoly on tourism directly contribute to the normalization of the occupation. This has, however, put Palestinians at a state of jeopardy where Palestinians don't identify as Palestinians for the purpose of securing contracts with Israel tour guides. Moving on, opposition from taxi drivers and regulators in South Korea has hampered the introduction of new transportation systems or services rather, such as those offered by US-based Uber Technologies. 10,000 taxi drivers took to the streets in protest of the same after a taxi driver committed suicide against the plan of introducing carpooling services. Welcome back to the iCage. Now, today's episode starts off on a very sad note as a taxi driver in South Korea takes his own life due to work pressure. It is alleged that he did this in solidarity to protest against the introduction of carpooling services in that state. Now, pulling such extremes for the love of your job or career is not the issue. The issue is what thought drove him to that conclusion. Mental health in Kenya is a struggling sector in health where not many people consider it necessary for checkup. According to the World Health Organization, 1 out of 4 people is said to be suffering mental disorder, and most of them are in the category of not opening up, resulting to suicide. The most popular mental health disorder is depression, bipolar, and the question is, what does it take to notice such traits in an individual? Turning on to social media, I see Michelle Mwelu, and she says on matters health, we Kenyans are very passive and really do not care about it because it is quite expensive. Besides, our perceptions are wrong because we think it's only for the mentally challenged. It's high time this attitude changed. Indeed, thank you very much, Michelle Mwelu, for your comment. Now, moving on, we're going to have a comprehensive feature that has been compiled by Pamela Wanjiru.
Like a cold night, so is mental health of an individual battling with depression. Being a pessimist is the only way to go because all hope is lost. According to data collected from the World Health Organization, 1 out of 4 people is likely to suffer from mental disorder, but the likelihood of them admitting to this is like waiting for the ocean to dry up.
I think what really causes mental sickness is that can be referred to be psychopathology. Could be as a result of a sickness, emotional problems, and personality disorders. That can be as a result of medical illness.
This is so because of the stigmatization one gets for being in such a state. There's the fear of what will other people say, which makes depression more critical.
Well, I think to begin with, it's costly, very expensive. And then it's kind of awkward going for, mental checkup and all that. I also think there's so many quack doctors around, so you don't know who to trust. And then fear of the outcome, what the results might be.
It may be expensive or unviable, but not much effort is put in, hence the series of suicide rates going higher and higher. Reporting for the iCage, my name is Pamela Wanjiru.
Thank you very much, Pamela Wanjiru, for that detailed report. Now she's joining us live from Mathare Hospital. Now, Pamela, what are the stakes surrounding mental health in Kenya?
Thank you very much, Edith Mbenesi. And on the issue of why people cannot access mental health, I've been interacting with most of them, and some of them have pointed out that it is very expensive to go get health checkups, and also the stigma that comes with getting checked and airing out or saying that you've been diagnosed. And the other thing is that most people do not see the need to go get checked. Back to you in studio.
Thank you, Pamela, once more for those details. Now, turning on to social media, I see Miss Wanderi, who says that mental health is a sector that is really overlooked. It's now dawning to me that it is burdening our society today, especially with suicide rates going high. Thank you, Miss Wanderi, for your comment. Welcome to the segment where we discuss one-on-one with experts over this matter. We are joined by Chris Waweru, a senior member of the Daystar Compassion and Care Unit. Present is also practicing medic Agnes Gunjiri, and lastly we have a psychiatrist, Dr. Mutiso of Gillard Clinic. Now jumping right into the conversation, what are the causes of mental disorder?
I'd say this is, they arise from different factors. Number one could be stress because of academics. It could be maybe stress because of substance abuse, which is from peer pressure. It could be coming from dysfunctional families. Someone might be dealing with a disorder like bipolar disorder, yeah. And there's also the use of smartphones, which leads to sleep deprivation, is the feeling of being left out, and cyberbullying.
And now to assist your patients, what are some of the activities you indulge them in?
Okay, they're different. There's one called mood tracker, in which it's like a log. You use for someone to fill in what they're feeling and at a specific time and why they feel that way. So this makes them, it's like a self-perception. Yeah? You get to know yourself better. There's another one which is, we use something called emotion faces, and these are for people who can't express themselves and their emotions and their feelings. So what happens is we have different faces ranging from happiness to sadness to anger, and this helps someone to express their feelings once they are in therapy, and also for them to assist you to know if therapy is going how they intend it to go. The last one is called CBT therapy. In full, it's cognitive behavioral therapy. And what this does, it makes someone aware of their feelings, sadness, happiness, anger, things like this, and how their beliefs, attitudes, and feelings can help them decide their emotions at a specific time.
Thank you very much, Chris Waweru. Now moving on to Agnes Ngunjiri. Actually, a psychiatrist describes lethal methods used by most men to commit suicide. Kindly describe further what lethal methods are.
Okay, there are two words. There's the lethal and then the methods. And from the English perspective, when we look at the word lethal is something toxic, it can be something harmful, and it can also be forceful, whereby someone does not engage into dialogue or even listen. And you find that those people who use the lethal methods, they use it on subordinate staffs. I mean, not staffs per se, but subjects. And when we talk about men, we could be thinking about their wives, we could be thinking about their children, we could be thinking about their sisters, and anybody they deem. And more so in Africa, you find that especially the female gender is where the man would really use the lethal, methods of doing whatever they would want to do. And to me, lethal methods are just something poisonous, it's harmful, and can even lead to suicide.
And with that said, how can we curb suicidal rates in our country currently?
Okay. How we can curb suicidal rates is about understanding ourselves and understanding those people around us. And when we think of understanding ourselves, we start from the very early ages. We understand how we grow from the time we are born, how we interact with the environment, and how we should behave right with the environment and even the people around us. When we think of the early age, we look at preparing people early enough in life, because what happens in suicide is that you find that most of the people who commit suicide, they are depressed. And it means these are people who have not been listened to or who have not opened up their emotions or their feelings or their expressions. How can we deal with this? It's good to introduce these topics early in life, in school life, in small bits, as we grow in teenage and even in high school and even in our high institutions of learning. And also, for people who may not be captured within those, it is good to, to involve like in churches, that because people are in school, they're in churches, they are in organized occasions like women groups or even circles and all that kind of a thing at a workplace.
Thank you very much, Agnes Ngunjiri. Now moving on to Dr. Mutiso. It is alleged that it is expensive or inaccessible to access mental health in Kenya. How true is this statement?
Several things. One has to do with people's perceptions of mental illness, which is a lot of it which is culture based. There's also the stigma of mentally ill. There's even stigma of being a psychiatrist. So people struggle to be associated with mental illness. And one of the things that we've been pushing for a long time is that mental illness is an illness like any other illness. A lot of times, unlike what has been in the past, a lot of mental illness is really due to derangement of neurotransmitters in the brain. There's been a big change since I started working in mental health in the 80s. I have noticed many people these days just come straight to my office and they say, I want to see you, I have stress. That time, you could only come to my office when you're tied up and being brought by the relatives because you're very, very ill. So there has been progress. We are not yet there, but there has been progress.
And on that note, what are some of the psychometric instruments you use to detect mental illness in your patients?
There are several things that we use. The first thing is it takes a long time to train as a psychologist or as a psychiatrist. And part of what we use very, very much is just getting to hear the story. We call that history. And just getting to hear the story. What has happened? How was this person before? What has changed? And because we understand the illnesses, then you are able to quickly doing a psychiatric evaluation, narrow down to what the person is suffering from.
Well, we have ultimately come to the end of this discussion. Thank you very much, Chris, Agnes, and Dr. Mutiso for having such a resourceful conversation. Moving on to social media, I see Cynthia Alain tweet where she says that mental health sector is trying really hard to unveil themselves, especially with the post-campaign they conducted. With that said, the suicide rates are likely to go down. Well, indeed, thank you very much, Cynthia Alain. Welcome to our final segment, The Eye Master. A healthy life is affordable and a sickly one is hard to handle. Yes, mental health is expensive, but it is worth the cost. It takes a lot to love yourself, and the best reward you can ever award yourself is good health, because your body is the only place you can ever live in. Thank you very much for staying tuned on the iCage. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. My name is Edith Benesi. God bless you.